Aye, shepherd's pie, greetings from the Philippines. I'm back for a coffee and a chat. Come into the bedroom today. I think now we've got some more furniture in here, it won't be as echoey as the other rooms. Going forward, I'm planning to do a lot more filming outside because I seem to get some positive reviews on those videos. It's a bit windy today. So I'm coming to you live from the bedroom. Today I thought we'd have a little chat about bank accounts because it's important for a number of reasons. Save you a fortune having a bank account out here because you don't have any withdrawal fees and there are numerous other benefits. Trouble is, I put off doing it because I had seen so much, I don't know, will we call it misinformation? See, the trouble is, it's easy to read articles and things and then find out when you try and do it that it's not the case. But was that misinformation, or was it simply that the rules have changed? You know, maybe at the time when they wrote these guides, that was the situation. The other possibility is maybe my experience isn't the same experience you'll have because, you know, anyone who's spent time in the Philippines will know it doesn't have the most uniformed regulations. They really can vary from island to town, you know, different worlds, different islands. But anyway, I opened a bank account yesterday. I will tell you, well, it was easier than I thought it would be. I'm very happy about how easy it was. But like I say, you know, take what I tell you with a pinch of salt, in the sense that I am talking about one particular bank in one particular city. So hopefully you will find it as easy as I did. If you didn't, don't shoot the messenger. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you what happened with me, you know. Hopefully it'll be as easy for you. So first of all, I want to dispel a couple of rumours. What rumours? I say misinformation that I'd read. Certainly wasn't my experience yesterday. And that was that you need to have a 6-month visa to be able to open a bank account. To be honest with you, I'm glad that I had read that or heard that, because that's what prompted me into opening the account yesterday. Because the 6-month visas, it would appear, are no longer a thing in the Philippines. They've stopped. I've had this confirmed by the immigration office. I've had it confirmed by the visa agency I use, and I've had it confirmed by countless expats. Whether it's the case or not, I do not know, because many months ago, when I tried to get my last 6-month visa, I was reliably informed by the people in the know they were no longer a thing. The most I could get is 2 months. I did a bit of research, came back, confronted the visa agency, and then I got a 6-month visa. So who knows? But best information at present is 6-month visas are no longer a thing. You can't get them. If anyone's had a different experience, then let me know. And I'm talking about from now onwards. I don't mean like 6 months ago, because they were a thing. I got one 6 months ago. But anyway, I digress. So my 6-month visa runs out at the end of this month. So I was putting my passport in to get a new visa in the knowledge that I was only applying for a 2-month visa. So that got me thinking, if you really do need a 6-month visa to open a bank account, now's my last chance to do it. Well, I've still got 2 weeks left on the visa. So carpe diem, I seized the day yesterday. I went to the visa place I use and I asked them if they could recommend any banks for tourist visas. Tourist passports. Because we are talking about tourist passports in this video, obviously, because the vast majority of expats who are in the Philippines have, will have tourist visas. Obviously, if you're retired and you've got a retirement visa or you've got a marriage visa, then very possibly the excuse me, the regulations will be different for you. I'm purely talking about tourist visas. So anyway, I went in, I asked them, could they recommend any banks for a tourist visa? And they recommended 3. They recommended BDO, they recommended the Security Bank, and they recommended the Commercial Bank, or the Commerce Bank, sorry, the Commerce Bank. Said those were the 3. Said there were 3 branches in Dumaguete, and to try those. So I went armed with my Philippine driving license, my ACR card, my passport, and my rental agreement as proof of address. Hoping that would be enough. Now, one of the things that deterred me before, in terms of going for my going for a driving license, like, God, can I speak English? For trying to open a bank account, was the a lot of places of research I did, a lot of reading that I did, said that you needed to have a letter from your bank in your home country confirming that you were a good customer. And I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to get that? Because it's notoriously difficult to deal with your bank when you're out of the country. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to phone my bank in the UK. You got the Data Protection Act and all that. They're going to email this letter or post it to me, and I bring it to the bank. I mean, it really put me off applying. Not because there's a problem with my credit history or bank. I just couldn't see any way it was going to be doable to get this letter. I was sure if I contacted the bank, they wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about. So anyway, I was ready to have that argument when we got to the bank. Went to the bank. We went into the BDO bank first because it was the closest. Took our little slip, sat down, waited about 10-15 minutes, which was a bit stressful in the sense it's all right 10-15 minutes, but you get a number and you wait for it to come up on the screen. You've got no way of knowing how long it's going to take, because the numbers we had started with an M because they have a customer service, but some numbers for the bank started with a C if you wanted to use a cash service. Others started, I think it was a T or something, so you couldn't look and think, right, oh, M, the number before me is up, it means I must be next, because there were lots of other, like, you know, C numbers and T numbers. So I think this could take hours, but it didn't. It took 15 minutes roughly. Went up to the counter, or took a chair at the desk with this customer service representative. Said I wanted to open a tourist visa, a tourist bank account. Before I'd even finished saying it, she starts getting the paperwork out. I had to fill in 3 forms, all very straightforward. She was helpful. I struggled with the small print to read, but fortunately Ellen was there to help me translate it. I am getting old. It's very depressing. And it was very straightforward. And all they required of me was, didn't want proof of address, just put my address down, you know, where we were living. They accepted that, didn't want any proof of it. Had to put a UK address, again, didn't, you know, require any proof of it. Wanted to see my passport, and this was the interesting thing. She looked at my passport. She wasn't interested in a 6-month visa. What they were interested in was whether I had been in the country more than 6 months. And I think that might be where some of the confusion is, because I've spoken to expats over in Sikil who said they couldn't get the bank account until they got a 6-month visa. I'm wondering if that's been lost in translation, that if you've got a 6-month visa, the bank can assume you're going to be here for 6 months, or it was that you had to be here for anyway, either way, the 6-month visa, the fact that I still had an active 6-month visa, was not a thing. Wasn't no interest to them. All she wanted to know was the date I came into the country, which was start of September. So that was fine. She wanted the ACR card, ARC card rather. Looked at that. That was it. They were the only 2 documents that she wanted to see. She wanted to see that I had the ARC card, and she wanted to check that I'd been in the country more than 6 months. No talk, discussion whatsoever about, you know, getting a reference from my bank in the UK or a letter or anything like that. those were the only two pieces of documentation I needed to make. I needed to produce. They did a biometrics, took a photograph, took a print of my finger and my thumb on both hands. The only stipulation seemed to be I have to keep 2,000 pesos in the bank account at all times. That's what I needed to open the account. And if it drops below 2,000, I'll get fined 300 pesos. And they'll keep fining it until it drops to zero and then you lose the account. So basically you need to have a balance of 2,000 pesos to keep the account active. Now obviously, I'm talking about BDO. This is BDO. This is the bank I went to. This is the one I opened the account at. So I'm sure other banks will have different, requirements, etc. I was talking to a guy the other day, and a Canadian guy, Rob, and he was saying 3,000 for his. But anyway, BDO was 2,000. All they wanted to know was primarily where would my funds be coming from, and what were the source from. And he didn't want any great detail. They wanted to know if it was a pension, if it was investments. I just said it's savings and investments. That's all they wanted to know. And they wanted to have a rough estimate of how much money I might be transferring in a month. And I said, well, it will be rough. Sometimes it might be a lot less, sometimes. But again, they didn't really care. It seemed like it was a paper ticking exercise. Although I will say, whether it's scaremongering or not, I have seen lots of vlogs and people talking about if you transfer a couple of £1,000 into your bank account and it's unusual, or it doesn't even have to be that much, they can freeze your account because they're worried about money laundering. It can take months to get the money back, etc, etc. Now, how often that happens, I've got no idea. I do know I've got no intention of doing any large transactions like that. I will probably transfer, no more than 300, 400 at a time, a few times a month. I don't want to risk doing big ones. There's no point in big ones. I mean, it doesn't cost any more to transfer. With my banks that I use, it's UK banks is free. So, anyway, I digress. The other thing is, which was interesting, the money I had to produce a ATM receipt for money I had drawn out in the Philippines. Now, I don't usually ask for the receipts. When it says in the ATMs, do you want a receipt? I generally click no, because half the times they say they've got no paper. But she needed a receipt from an ATM in the Philippines to say that I had withdrawn money while I'd been in the Philippines. Because I think that money that I gave her over the counter, the 2,000, I actually gave her more. I gave her more than the balance because I wanted some credit in the account. She needed to see an ATM slip for that, or an ATM slip. And thankfully, don't know why, I did actually have one in my wallet, which I gave to her, and that was fine. So she said, going forward, now the account is open now. I've got my number, I've got my receipt for the balance. I'll get the card, got to pick that up in about 10 days time. It's okay. I'm just happy I got the account open. Now going forward, if I pay in money over the counter in the branch, I will have to produce a receipt from the ATM that I got the money at. So if I want to go and draw £300 out, or let's say 20,000 pesos from the China bank, take it into a BDO branch and pay it over the counter, I will now need to have the receipt from the ATM at that transaction. Now, the reality is, I'm never going to do that. What would be the point? What would be the point of going to a bank, withdrawing it, paying the 250 peso fee, just to take it and put it in the bank? I mean, I may end up doing it one day for some reason, I don't know. But I intend to transfer it all, from my UK branches directly into my Philippine bank account. And for that, there's no charge. Doesn't seem to be any charge for my cards either. I mean, when I had a bank account in Thailand, I still do, I think it's like £6 a year to have the card, to be able to use it outside of Thailand. Here, nothing for the card. As long as you keep the 2,000 pesos in the bank account, it seems to be good to go. If I use a BTO, ATM, and that's one of the good things about BDO. Now, I'm not recommending it. I know nothing about them until I had the account yesterday, and I Googled them in the evening, and they're the biggest bank in the Philippines. They've got more ATMs than any other bank, to me, which is a good thing. I mean, obviously, you know, I should be able to find their ATMs quite easily, and I won't have to pay anything to draw the money out. Now, if I do have to use another ATM, it's only 18 pesos. You know, it's a lot better than the 250 pesos I'm paying now on my UK cards or foreign cards, and anyone in the Philippines is. So it's a good idea to open a bank account. I would recommend that you do it. Not necessarily BDO. As I say, you've got 3 options. And when I say you've got 3 options, they're just the 3 that that they recommended in JRC, the visa company. Now, the guy Rob I was talking to the other day about his bank account, I can't remember the name of the bank, I'm terrible, but it definitely wasn't one of them 3. And he'd just gone in off the street and asked in a couple of banks, a couple had said no, he'd gone to this one and they'd given him one. So I think there is definitely more than the 3, but those 3 would be a good place to start. As I say, based on my experience, it was very straightforward, very easy. Again, just to reiterate, they weren't interested in a 6-month visa. They just wanted you to have been in the country for more than 6 months. The only identification they wanted was the ARC card and passport. None of the other stuff I bought, like the proof of address, driving license, they didn't want to see any of that. They only wanted 1 form, or 2 forms of ID, and no proof of address. And it was very straightforward, very straightforward. As I say, it's not financial advice. I recommend you do it. I recommend you do it because if you're staying here long term, because it gives you another option for monies and things. I mean, you know, if I want to buy a scooter or whatever in the future, I can just transfer the money into my account. I mean, I was looking at the other day thinking about if I bought a scooter or a car, how would I do it? I'd have to, you know, go to the ATM like 15 times to draw the money out to get it back. This way I can transfer it, you know, I mean, it will be easier in that sense if that's something I want to do. Not sure if it is yet. But yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise how easy it was. I think I'll use it. I know I'll save money, and it all helps. It's got to help as you move forward. You know, when you're like, you know, I don't know, in the future. You're more established in the Philippines when it comes to renting houses. And I can't think of any examples now, but the point is, I've got a Filipino bank account. I've got an ACR card, an ARC card. I've got the driving license. You know, these are all proof IDs and things. These are all things that, you know, help you prove you're established here and may open, you know, doors for you in the future. So yeah, just to reiterate, I only needed 2 pieces of ID. Didn't need this ridiculous credit letter. Maybe you need that from American banks. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I read online seems to be advice from Americans for American banks, etc. And American banks have a relationship with the Philippines because they were asking me questions on the forms about the IRS and, you know, nothing to do with me. They weren't asking questions about the Inland Revenue, which is our equivalent of the IRS in the UK. So maybe it's different. Maybe if you're an American, you need different forms and things. I don't know. But anyway, all I can tell you is it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I'm glad I did it, and I hope it helps you in your decision or your application or whatever you decide to do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, it'd be great if you did. Whatever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, be lucky.